Hello everyone. Welcome to this conclave, and I'll start with introducing my guests here. We'll start with Mr. Pradhyum Reddy. Pradhyum is the currently the CEO of Dempo SC. He has previously been involved as assistant coaching roles in Bengaluru FC, Pune City, and he's also coached Shillong Lajong and DSK Shivajians in the I-League. He's also served as the technical director at Pune City. Welcome, Pradhyum. Next is Mr. Manolo Marquez. Manolo is now a household name in Indian football. He is currently the head coach of FC Goa, bidding to take the team back to the ISL trophy. The Spaniard has had a long career as a player first and then as a coach in several countries including Spain, Croatia and Thailand. Before FC Goa, he has also had success in his 3-year stint at Hyderabad FC where he won the ISL trophy in 2022. Welcome, Manolo. Next, we have Mr. Caitano Fernandes, a veteran administrator and a businessman who is currently the president of the Goa Football Association. But most importantly, a lover of the beautiful game that is football. Welcome, sir. And finally, we have Mr. Bramhanand Sankhwalkar, a true Indian football legend and someone who was instrumental in putting Goa on the Indian football map. He is among the finest goalkeepers to put on an Indian shirt and also went on to captain the national team between 1983 and 1986. A Padma Shri and an Arjuna awardee, Brahmanand has played for legacy football clubs like Salgaonkar and Churchill Brothers as well. Welcome everyone, and as the topic of our discussion is rediscovering Goa's football magic, I would first of all want to start by asking you, has the magic been lost in the last 10 years? I would start with you, Pradhyum. And
I think it's an interesting question. I think definitely if you look at the numbers from a club point of view, obviously the number of clubs playing in the top tier has declined. But if you look at the absolute numbers in terms of players playing at the national team, it's probably around the same in terms of if you look at about a decade, look at it there, the minutes played by players from Goa at the national teams, relatively constant. Just in the last World Cup campaign, you could say it's dropped now. We just one player consistently playing minutes. But I think you got to scratch deeper and look at it further down the line when you look into youth football. Goa has very little to no representation at under 23, under 20, under 19, under 17 levels in the national team. And I think that's what would be a big concern because obviously the knock-on effect of that is 10 years down the line and later down the line. So, we shouldn't be asking the same question 10 years later unless we do something now.
The reason why I'm asking is at least 10 years back in the National League, which was the I-League, we had 4 Goan clubs in the top division. But now we have in the ISL the representation of FC Goa. But there are the Goan clubs which we used to know fondly are currently in the lower division. So what is the reason behind that?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Sportstar, for inviting us. See, in national level, we have presently 3 clubs. Since 2005 till 2015, in India, we was having around 300 players playing for Indian team and I-League. Today we have 3 clubs and we have around altogether international India team, 20 players are playing. So our focus is since last 10 years, football was in Goa not that popular because of lack of vision from our leadership. So since we have taken over, we made sure that our grassroots level should be very strong. Then we can focus after 4-5 years. My dream from Goa, we should have at least 400 to 500 players playing in international level.
Sir, same question to you, Brahmanand sir. You being a former player from the state, like the question I was asking, like, has the magic been lost? Because the state was even declared as a state sport. The football was declared as a state sport in 2012. But do you feel like a lot has not happened in the last decade?
Yes, I think when withdrawal of some of the top clubs from Goa, from the I-League, before the ISL could take place, and now plenty of football is being played here. Maybe the schools, the football association, the age group tournaments are going on. But they will go to certain level. Beyond that, earlier there were, any player who was trying to get into that, there were so many clubs. That platform was there, and that platform is missing today here. Except Churchill Brothers in the I-League, now FC Goa is part of it. Where is the product of the players will go? That's the question mark. Of course, they can go rest of the country, but then depends on the player's pathway, where he decides to go. Best of the players, somehow we see him disappearing from the field. It's because that's one of the reasons. If Goa comes back to that level of the more teams coming back again to the I-League level at least, I think more number of players can play and the charm can come back. And that's what I'm looking for.
Manolo, Mr. Brahmanand sir was talking about the platform which is lacking, but FC Goa is a club which has traditionally in the last few years been wanting to bring through the local players through the system and into the first team. And as a first team coach who has joined the club the last summer, how important is it for you as a coach to stick to this ideology?
Hello, good afternoon. It's a pleasure for me to be here. It's a difficult thing for me to speak about it because, you know, I'm not from India. It's my only 4 years here in the country. 3 seasons where I had a similar problem, but even worse because nobody played football in Hyderabad. And I know that in the 50s or 60s, one team who is Hyderabad Police, they won championships and they had a lot of players in the national team in that moment. But after 50 years, football practically didn't exist. I think it's not the same in Goa. The structure of at least in FC Goa, is completely different. The structure of the club is good if I compare with my former experience. But I have the feeling, not only in FC Goa, and not only in most parts of India, I have the feeling in a lot of countries that we are losing some important parts because we are speaking about development, and development is not that ISL, because ISL is like the image of Indian football to the world. But in my opinion, we have to improve in the grassroots. I know the sentence is very easy, but to do these kind of things is very difficult. But and it takes time. But obviously, I am sure that there is a big space for India in the next years, not 5-10 years. You know, this takes time. It's more than this.
Speaking of grassroots, like currently, in the senior national team, there are 2 Indian players. And obviously, like there are other factors like injuries as well, which plays into it. But in terms of the supply line which is coming through, it's from Goa. It's not as great as like a Mizoram or even a Punjab and Calcutta. So what, in terms of fixing the grassroots, like, you coming from Catalonia, Barcelona, we have seen the number of players, say, in like a Lamas here, like the biggest example which we can take in Barcelona. And even the number of players who are coming through from the local academy to the senior team. And even in the time where you were there, like, can you give us an idea about like what is essential in like fixing the grassroots system, and what are the things which we can use here to take things forward?
The thing is that we can speak about this maybe for hours, no? I will try to be shorter, obviously. The thing is, the money is in the highest categories. But the best coaches would have to be in the academies with the small kids, because this is the moment where the kid has to start to learn football, no? There is a process that in some countries, I know, for example, our assistant coach, Mangi Singh, he played I don't know how many times in the national team, and he started to play football at 14 or 15 years old, which is incredible, no? I think that I am from a country where football is another kind of religion. You play football from the first moment that you have some memories. You know that the first gift is a ball, then it's about the process, no? It's about the process. It's about you have to play football as soon as possible. First alone, then learn to play with your teammates, then finally play against opponents. And there is a long process that you cannot train kids from 5 years old same way than kids than 11 years old, or youth players or professional players. And finally, this is the reason that I told you, no, that the best coaches should be with the kids, because finally it's not about only coach, it's about educator, it's about second father, it's about everything. And especially you need to show how they can understand the game. Yes, understand the game means, I put always this example, no? If you are a kid and you are try to surpass one opponent, and if you lose the ball, the coach, the parents, everyone shouting, why you lose the ball, why you don't pass the ball, blah, blah, blah. This is the moment that they can dribble, they can lose the ball, because these are the correct way. Finally, the process is, okay, I will lose the ball. Maybe the next time I will choose the correct option. Yes, it's a big process. It's a big process in everything. That this is the reason that I say that takes time. And you need, okay, we are speaking, let's see if India arrives to the World Cup in the next years. It's not about this. This is the last part of the chain. You have to start for the development of the players, and how is this development, because development is only a word. It's about how is this development.
Pradhyum, you have recently taken over as CEO at Dempo, someone who's overseeing everything within the club, from the senior team to the juniors. So, like Manolo was saying, like, back home, back in his home, where players are starting at a young age. So, in terms of setting the grassroots right, like how challenging is it when that's something which you can't do here from a young age?
See, I mean, what happens sometimes is we mask the problem. See, we're talking about, you talk about what's happening with the football, you talk about there were 4 I-League teams earlier, now there are less teams. That's not what's going to impact, obviously, what happens at a youth level, because there's still opportunities for players to go out and play. 10 years ago on coaching courses in India, you'd always show the Goa pyramid, and you'd say, Goa's got the best football pyramid amongst Indian states, where you've got under 13, 15, 17, they had the Tasa Goa League, and then the Goa Pro League. But the number of matches, it's not just having a pyramid, you have to play. I mean, you're talking about in Spain, these kids are playing throughout the year. I mean, just heard about the cricket players having problems about not being able to play more than 5 months. As a club, we can have an under-13 team. We can start even younger. We've got an under-15 team. There's some coaches here from FC Goa as well. We've probably all had about 75 training sessions from June till now with those kids, under-13, under-15. But each team's only played about 6 or 8 matches. So if by the end of the year, from the ages of 13 going up to 18, if you're averaging 10 games as kids playing there, it's nowhere near enough. Now, there's people in the audience like Savio, Mariano and all. If you ask them how many games they played, Brahmanand and all that, from the ages of 13 to 18, it's probably tenfold compared to the matches. So in a way, we've brought in things like we've got GFDC, which has been around here for 10 years. You've got training centers, so they're training players, but there's no games. So even the example Manolo just gave now about dribbling in a game. If you don't have games, you're not going to become better, whether it's cricket, football, any other sport. So just putting leagues and saying, look, we're conducting leagues, but if it's finished in 1 month or 2 months, which is how a lot of our youth leagues are, it's just there for ticking a box saying we're conducting something, but we're not actually doing meaningful youth development. Similarly, coaches aren't going to develop. If you're a coach at an under-13, you've got your license, you've just done your C license, and you train for 2 months for this league to start and finish, and you play 8 games, how do you develop as a coach? If the coaches don't develop, the players aren't going to develop. So the whole ecosystem has to be looked into and seeing like, how can you make it, you need to increase it. And it's possible, it's feasible if you go hyper-local rather than trying to address the whole state as a problem. And, cricket guys mentioned upon having development centers. We've got a lot of grounds in Goa that are owned by or run by the Department of Youth and Sports. Are there training centers in each one of them? Probably not. Do they have regular training? Do they play one? You've got GFDC centers, hundreds of them are around the state where coaching is going on regularly, but they don't play one another. So coaches are not going to develop and players are not going to develop. So you have to fix those problems. Otherwise, we're going to be here in the same place 10 years later, and the states like Mizoram you mentioned will be way ahead of us. I know FC Goa's coaches, if they're going to scout players now, they're probably looking and spending more time looking at the Mizo Premier League than the Goa Pro League, because players from there are ready to transition into professional football and can make their debuts. And the numbers show it. The numbers from players from Mizoram and Manipur, when they make their debuts in the top leagues, play more meaningful minutes than players from Goa Pro League who go in to debut in these leagues. So it's not just quantity, it's the quality as well that we've got to fix. And, Goa, Mizoram, comparable in terms of population. GDP-wise, I'm sure Goa is ahead of it. But more players are coming out of those places because they've got better structures in their youth systems.
Mr. Fernandes, in terms of the number of matches which he was talking about, how is it that, as a president, what are the challenges which you face in, not having those many matches for the...
See what Mr. Pradhyum said, we are the only states in India who plays maximum matches. I am in the Indian Football Federation League Committee also. Other states are playing just 10 matches, as we play 40 matches. From grassroots, from 8 years, FC Goa, and we associate with them. Under 8, under 9, under 10, under 12, under 13. We all have all grassroots level teams. And match play, under 13, we play 30 matches. Each club play 30 matches. Under 15, 27 matches. GPL, Goa Premium League, that plays around 52 matches. It's the highest in the country. So as an association, we give the platform. It is up to club also to come forward. If we are lacking somewhere, we can rectify it. And we can see, we cannot talk about Mizoram. All their upcoming states, like Orissa, they are the best now. Because to organize, we require a lot of funds. We don't get any support from government. One gentleman mentioned there are many people who sponsor. I am happy, I will go them, I can give my presentation. Kindly support us. See, to have a matches, to give the platform, we required funding. Like Odisha, they are spending 3,000 crores per annum only for football. As Goa, till now, in last 1.5 years, we got only 12 lakhs. So how you can think? We have infrastructure, but as per FIFA standard, we have only 4 grounds. We have 200 grounds. But for FIFA standard, we have only 4 grounds. So all this conclusion, but I am happy, and if anything is lacking, we can play more matches, and we can give chance to more kids come forward and play more game. I'm just giving an example. Last year, we have conducted one under-14 Women's League. After 22 years, we are the champion of India. So why these girls got champion? Because they got more matches to play. That's the reason we got a result after 22 years. This is our passion, and this is a commitment by GFA to the clubs and for state.
If you are looking just closer to home, in Mumbai, the Reliance Foundation Youth Development Center, there the children are playing as close to 30 games around the same time. I mean, Pradhyum was mentioning about how 7 games is something which the same under 13 level are being played. Is there a danger of then children wanting to, or the parents thinking like it will be better for them to go to another state than develop over here?
No problem is here there is a transportation issue is there, but we make sure that somehow, see, parents is also helping us, and club also helping us to get them in the center, like south side, north side. But due to some children is coming from Kankona, for them to come here in South Goa is very difficult. For that, we are trying to solve this. We are talking to government, support us. We will make sure that Goa, no team is only playing 7 men. At least more than 15 matches they play, each league, not 7.
So Brahmanand, can you talk us through your time when you were coming up? I think around the same time there was a lot more Goan players coming through. What was it like then, back then, in terms of the number of matches you played? When did you get into playing football?
Actually, what used to happen when the season used to start on the 1st of June, maybe 1st of July, the league games could start. Those days, there was not much care of the play fields. Even if in the heavy rains, we would play. The very next day, there's another match. The match would be played over there by the Goa Football Association. It was going on. Not only the Goan League. We were playing, I remember there were 2 rounds in the league. 2 rounds. Out of 10 teams, we were playing 18 matches in a year. State league, top league is concerned. After that, we would travel to other states where top tournaments were going on there. Like for Bangalore, Stafford Cup, Putta Memorial, then you go to Kerala, Chakora Gold Cup, Seth Nagji, lot of the tournaments were going on. Hyderabad Nizam Gold Cup, Delhi, Durand Cup, DCM. I tell you, on those tournaments, we were coming back home after enjoying all that, with 20 days rest before the next season could start. And they were all competitions, not just training for 2 months. I played few matches, no. All competitions, and those competitions you will see top Indian players would play. I would be angry to go to Delhi to play against Mohun Bagan because we were beaten here by Mohun Bagan or East Bengal here. That was competition, high-level competition going on throughout the year, which is missing totally today. To build a competitive mind is very important, which is missing. We play the state league. One day I was very sad to say, in December, one of the player who played for India was playing in Goa. So I'm leaving. I have been told to leave. I said, where? Season is up to June. He said, no, sir. There's nothing for me from December. The league is over. I'm leaving. I'm leaving Goa. I'm going to Bangalore to form better pressures. This is the state of at the moment. So all the revival of the tournaments has to come over there. I always say, even the federation should support those associations to revive this. I know when the ISL has come in, I-League has come in, all this has been died down sort of because people will rush definitely to the quality football. That was also quality football, but there was not ISL and I-League those days. But what I'm trying to say is let the competition go, continuity has to be there. And not only the top level, including the age group tournaments. I think I remember in '92, Japanese under-12 team came to Goa to play. They must have played some of the country, some of the states in India. After that, I'm never seen, except Uzbekistan came for under-16 one year back. Under-16 team of Uzbekistan come to play against the Indian team. It's fine. But this continuity has to be there, even for the youth team. And the total media coverage has to be there for that. If you look at I-League, some people take a back. Because that publicity of the ISL has to also go for the I-League. So people get attracted. And when you play with the youth teams under 15, under 17 coming, suppose then Dempo ground, maybe Japanese clubs, developmental side is coming to play over there with the Indian team. Maybe they have a round over the country for 44 matches in one time, one club may be coming down here. I tell you, most of the people from Goa will rush there to see. And those, especially the young boys and the girls will rush to see that. That is the way we have to do all come back to that level to see. We have to develop the interest. That coverage has to be there. Nothing is there. We have to ask for somebody. When the league is, I have not seen this year's Pro League because of various reasons. But I'm telling you, unless this goes on, the continuity has to go on of competition to develop a competitive mind. And consistency will come only that time. If you drew a match or lose against a very top team in even for national level also, when we play a weaker team, maybe equally, mind slows down of a player. That's where the mentoring comes for even that level. So we got to develop everything together in line. I think that will help it back. But coverage has to be there.
I mean, looking from the outside, at least like Goa and football seems to go hand in hand. Like everyone, when you think about Goa, think about beaches, and football is another aspect which comes to mind. But has there gradually the interest in the sport been declining? I mean, even in the cricket panel, they're talking about mobile phones for the players, but what are, like the challenges which with children having access to mobiles and gadgets, like the competition there is like now you have to fight it's again playground versus mobile phones.
It is still there. Most of the clubs are controlling this. Because I was with Saza Football Academy. When we have a play match the next day, they were controlled by the coach. All the mobiles were surrendered to the office. But we're not allowed to. Even if somebody finds another mobile in his room, maybe a second mobile of his, if he's caught, we could take actions on that. I know, and that mentoring is very, very important for the players to see seriousness about the game. Yeah.
Pradhyum, we were talking about Dempo, Sankhwalkar, the top 4 Goan clubs, Sporting Club Goa, back in and Churchill Brothers in I-League in 2013-14, but none of them are in the top division right now. And back then, so that helped with the better ecosystem in terms of more players, coaches, and in terms of even on the field, a better rivalry, having 4 strong clubs within the state. How big a miss are all these clubs? And like, when can we ever see a time where these teams can make the step up? And what can be done to get there?
So I think as Dempo, we're trying to get back. We're in second division, starts tomorrow for us. If we can finish top 2, we're back in the I-League, and Sporting are in there with us as well, Sporting Goa. So feasibly, looking at the results of the third division, if both teams can continue this rich vein of form, then we could see 2 Goan teams back in the I-League. That would make it 3 Goan teams, plus if you take FC Goa in the ISL, you've got 4 teams in the top flight of Indian football. So realistically, that could happen within 6 months' time. We could have 4 teams from Goa in the top 2 flights of Indian football. So maybe that'll, again, when you have teams at a higher level, there's more revenue coming into it, so you can afford to pay players higher than you would in the Goa Pro League. So players that, at the moment, there's obviously a lot of players from Goa, young players who are playing in the Goa Pro League, and then they look at it, and we've all experienced this, where they're thinking, I'm not earning enough money, I'm going to move to Dubai, or I'm going to go to the UK, and a lot of them are leaving. A lot of talented footballers have left Goa over the last few years. So maybe that is one thing that could, maybe they'll just delay that decision to go abroad because they've got an opportunity to play at a high level. But I think, that's, again, it's a convenient thing to look at, because there's a lot of players from other states that don't have top flight teams in their state, and they play and they try and make it in another team outside. So I think we have to look at that and address that as well, that why aren't players from here being able to play at that top flight? And, maybe we have to look forward rather than just looking back. We keep looking back and saying, oh, in those days there were more teams, therefore more players. But how can we start producing more players to maybe export more players to other states and be at the forefront? I mean, whether it's coaching, whether it's tech, we have to adapt. Other sports are adapting, and I think as football as well, we have to try and adapt, because you can't, once teams get into a competitive environment, you've got a team in the ISL, Manolo's not going to look at just Goan players if he wants to win. He's going to look at the best player in that position for him. And similarly, whether it's Dempo, Sporting, Churchill, if you want to compete with Brahmanand, Sporting, or Srinidhi and others to try and get into the ISL, you want the best players in India that you can afford in your budget. And maybe that means you can find better value outside, and you will look to do that. So it's not necessarily a cause and effect just because you have 4 teams. You're going to necessarily start producing more players in Goa.
Manolo, before you came to FC Goa, you were with Hyderabad. You might have been you might have heard about what Goa's connection to football is. And also you might have been very well aware of the Goa's youth system which trickles through. Can you talk us through about how comprehensive it is in terms of is that something which can be implemented across clubs within the state? And what are the challenges which those clubs might have to go through to get there?
Sorry, because maybe I don't reply your question. I think that the problem is general. It's not only in Goa. It's in most of not in India, in a lot of parts of the world, no? One thing is development, and another thing is organization. Yes, organization is how many games you can organize, you can play, blah, blah, blah. Development is, okay, I finished the school today, I am still playing with some friends in the school, in the street, okay, 2 against 2, 3 against 3, yes. Development is when I have to play, when I met, we play with 5 against 5, and in the other team there are some guys that they are older than me. Maybe they are 13 and I am 11. Okay, then I have to think, okay, how can I surpass these guys? Then this is a process where you are learning how you need to do the correct things to develop my style or my game or like this. No? Then finally, what happened? And then after this small example, you will play some games. And then when you play some games, you use these kind of aspects during the game. When you use this kind of aspects during the game, maybe you want to be coach. Maybe if you want to be coach, it's because you understand what you have to do. Now seems that the coach is the person who has to do it. You run this, you run that, this, you have to go in this direction, then this movement, and practically the creativity of the player doesn't exist. But this is not only in India. India is like 20 countries in one country. It's very difficult to organize I think that every state has to organize his his organization, no? Sorry. The thing is that in the world, 60, 70 years ago, players, or people, players, kids, they played during 7, 8, 9 years, 9 hours per day. After 20 years, they play 5. After 20 more years, they play 3. After 20 more years, they played 1. Today, if you cancel one training session, the players celebrate a party, practically. No, I think that is in terms of hours of the development, the improvement is about how many hours you play. If you speak about tennis, I know it's an individual sport, it's different, but how many hours they train every day to be in the, maybe in the top 100, not top 10, yes? Then this is about this. If it's not only, okay, I play. I play football because I like, yes, I like, but why you like? Yes, it's about, you need to understand a lot of things that I feel as a coach that the players arrive to the top level in India or the top level in Spain, and they don't know a lot of important things. And we are speaking even with players that they are playing in the best competitions in the world.
Yeah, I agree with him fully. Other day, I was been watching inter-village tournaments in Goa. It said a number of hours you play on the ground. Mrs. Savio Medera was with me, and as usual, I'm always want to be punctual. 4:15 is the match. We were all there together. Match started at 5 o'clock. And he kept his watch. Bully, you see, he said. They call me bully. It was 25 minutes first half. All youngsters. They're all promising players. I remembered how they, like Bente and Radhan, they were playing villages, but they had to play 45 minutes, 40 minutes. 20 minutes first half, 25. Second half was 20 minutes, 20 minutes. How can the player grow in a village? Now you look at the trend has gone otherwise. Veterans 40 plus are playing 30 or 35 minutes. And they keep on playing. We at 60 are playing today maybe 30 minutes a day. But these youngsters should be at the same time. JFA is working on that. They have discussions on that. I think they're coming to the point and they will strictly implement this. The referees also wait. How can you grow by playing 20 minutes the first half and young boys? They go to play 45 minutes. The matches should start early. It's going to take place and they're working on that. This has been going for years now. I hope full support to the president to see that we implement this and we go through.
I'll finish with Mr. Fernandes before we open the floor for questions. Sir, when you came in as president, you said you're going to prioritize youth and women's football. We touched upon youth football. In terms of the women's football, like we have the GFA Vedanta League, which is the top league. But in terms of, again, with the grassroots, like what are the steps which you're going to be taking to take the game to the next level?
See, for youth development, for women's, I have mentioned earlier that already we started under 14. Under 15, women's is also going on. So with that result, we got after 22 years, woman title in India. See, development youth required money. Like clubs, very few clubs are coming forward to put pumping money in the system. See how Mr. Pramod was saying, why players are leaving country or Goa? Because we are not paying them enough salary or enough bucks. So that's the reason All India Football Federation has made that minimum salary should be X for player. So they, see when they grow, like under 13, player when we give them the best practices, after 19 years or 20 years, if they leave, it is loss for the system. Because we are creating one player, and after he is ready, when he is not getting enough salary, he'll leave the country and he will leave the football. So that is very bad. But we have very good club in Goa, like Dempo, Vedanta, now Salgaonkar has come, and another Salgaonkar, Dattaraj also involved. So if we have good corporate, sporting is also there. If they pump more money in the system, we can go ahead, and what legacy was there for football in Goa, that will remain. GFA, like Mr. Brahmanand said, to aware about people, all GPL matches we show live. All women's leagues we show first time live telecast. As a GFA, whatever possible to development or betterment of the football in Goa, we are there to improve it. But lack of fund and lack of government support, we can't do what we have to do. But in coming days, government will listen to us, whatever they have promised. If they fulfill, we can change Goan football in coming 1-2 years.
Hopefully so. I'll now open the floor to questions that Mr. Sri Singh's hand over there.
Yeah, good afternoon. My name is Rahul Chandavarkar. I am a former newspaper editor, and a big sports fan. So my question is really to Brahmanand and Caitano. And I've been living settled in Goa for the last 8 years and observing football pretty closely. My question is, we have the GFA and the GFDC, two bodies looking after the fortunes of Goan football. But Goan football standards have plummeted. You know, last year in the Santosh Trophy, nobody like Gujarat beat Goa. That explains the story. So my question really is there a lack of coordination between the GFA and the GFDC? I mean, somebody like me suspects there is a lack of coordination and two bodies are working at cross purposes.
I don't think so, because the Goa Football Development Council, as I was the chairman, of course, term is over, we are developing up to 12 years of age. Here and there, we take up to 14 years of age. And from there, the boys are slipping into the other clubs. I agree with you, we have to come under one umbrella. It is going to be likely in the near future. But, and all these players, young boys, through the schools, they play for the schools, they play for underage teams to other clubs of the GFA under 13L. But organizations are different. Our developmental side is exposure to the kids. To get to the field was the main thinking of Mr. Parrikar, who was the first Chief Minister of Goa. To get them onto the field, get them united onto the field. And that's one thing. And second part is, besides the coaching, beyond that age, they play for the other clubs, this thing. And I think some of the young boys have also joined FC Goa, somewhere in some of the clubs, in the Pro League also. As they're growing up after 14 years of age. It is not, we don't clash with each other, but I would prefer that coordination is very required. That we had one meeting with the GFA, I remember, when Caitano was the vice chairman, no, he was a member of the council. Only one meeting we had before the council's term was over. That to come under an umbrella and to coordination to do together to push forward Goan football. And I'm for that. I hope it goes through.
For GFA, which I have mentioned, see, GFDC government has made one corporation to develop youth. But end of the day, last so many months, there is a headless body it is. So we suggested that whichever 5 CR crores they are giving to the GFDC, that can be pumped to GFA, because matches we organize. So that fund comes, we can develop, as we have given proposal to GFDC, that every village we have 191 clubs. That center we can combine and work for one team, like a development of football. So it is up to government now what step to be taken in coming days.
May I ask one supplementary question, please?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, thank you. Caitano, you reiterated many times that there is lack of government support. you know, that's a little baffling because the government of Goa designated football as a state sport. So it's quite ironical if the support is not coming. So I think the onus is on GFA. One, first and foremost, I think y'all should just merge the two and make it just one GFA. And you can have a talent scouting wing, you know, and you can have the best people there to talent scout. But I think you must shout from the rooftops to get the government to support you, because then otherwise the government of Goa is just doing lip service.
That's what I say. See, last year, government has announced 6 crores for football. And we received only 12 lakhs. Our GFA budget is 4 crores. From where we will develop? We ourselves is pumping money in the system. Our corporate, like our Dempo, Vedanta, Seza, all they are pumping the money. If government don't support, see, they are putting money in the GFDC, where they cannot play any match. So my appeal is with government. Even I have met Honorable CM also. So he promised me that in coming days they will release it. But till come, we cannot say anything. Because of our passion, GFA, and all our 191 clubs, they are coming forward. We are conducting leagues. That's the reason football is growing. Otherwise, it's all mercy of government.
We'll just quickly take one more question.
Yeah. Hello, I'm Augusto from Gomantak Times. My question is for Caitano. You keep saying, one, that the government has promised GFA 6 crores. In the assembly question and answer session, he had promised 6 crores to GFDC, not GFA. Number 2, you say that you all lack money. At the same time, you say that GFA telecasts live GPL as well as the Women's League. Why isn't that money being given to play the teams? Do you expect the teams to keep on their CSR exercise that they had started 25 years back, like Dempo, Salgaonkars, Cesars? They can't keep spending money and get nothing back, no? If you are telecasting the games, why isn't that money going to the teams?
Mr. Augusto, this money which we telecast, we took sponsorship from them only. And they show it. Secondly, the 6 crores is, you're wrong that you're saying this as budgeted for GFDC. No, GFDC, they have a separate budget. When we met before this budget, we have given proposal to the Honorable Chief Minister when he invited all association. And he has promised in the budget speech. We have document in writing. Simply don't create wrong information in front of other people. Mr. Augusto, you can check. See, you have some ego with the Goa Football Association. So keep aside that ego and let's think about what we can do better for Goan football. Thank you.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have time for more questions. It was an interesting debate. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Well, that was thoroughly illuminating session that we all had here. And it was very refreshing to learn more about how traditions with such decorated histories can also constantly strive to learn and get better. And now I request Mr. Ashin to kindly present our guests with the mementos as a token of appreciation for being present here with us.